Hey, it's Tamara here. Welcome to another episode of my Devlog series about the development of my simulation game called Lost in Athilidus. If you're new here, welcome, and let me give you a quick tour of what we already have in the game. You can build things from shop, produce items on factories, and in the previous episode I added a new mechanic to the game: farming. You can plant different crops, harvest and sell them from the storage. As promised, the second season is dedicated to activities you can do around the town, so in this episode I will make a power system. Want to know what it is and how I developed it? Stay tuned to see. Before we get to the video, let me remind you to subscribe to my channel to see more game dev content like tutorials, tips and devlogs. And there is more. I now have a Discord server where you can chat with me and other game devs. You can get the news from me there, ask for help and showcase your work. Thank you everyone who already joined, it's been a pleasure getting to know you all. And let's get to the video. First of all, I started with planning what I want to develop. I find it much easier when I have everything written down and then go to the implementation. I have a list of possible activities for the game, but there was a problem. If you have watched my Q&A video, you know that I usually brainstorm on paper, but I wish to do it digitally because I can access the files anywhere. This time I really felt it. I was away from home and I didn't have my notes with me, only a list of activities. So basically I had to think through a mechanic from scratch. Luckily, I was able to remember what I wanted to do for this mechanic and started typing things in my notes. I usually write down how things function, you can call it description. Then I have a list of graphics that I need to find or make. This list is much smaller than it used to be at the beginning of the game because I try to stick to one thing for the UI. Also, I like to write down a list of classes that I want to create. It helps me separate the responsibilities between them. Let me tell you about this mechanic more. I called it power system, but it won't be connected directly to the houses. By this, I mean this is not the system that will make the factories work. It's a mini-game that will be available if you click on the powerhouse. The gameplay is simple. There is a window where you can see a city with houses. Also, there is another display where you can see the panels with numbers. I call them plates. The goal is to drag the right plate to the house in order to light it up. There will be a number written on it and a rule. Houses will have green lawns around them, so I made these green placeholders of different sizes. I added rigid bodies to them and colliders to make them fall nicely. The difficulty with this is that the holders are UI elements and the houses are game objects. I had to make a holder follow its house. I didn't add canvases as child objects to the houses because it will impact the performance. Dragging a plate also works, but it doesn't stick to holders. After this, I made the spawner for the houses. I spawn houses at the top of the windows, so I have a nice effect of falling. You can see a bit of shaking because the objects are affected by physics. I have fixed it later. I already programmed plates snapping, but it's still missing the logic. To fix the shaking, I wanted to add colliders between rows of houses. I placed them in wrong positions and it caused chaos. After I positioned them, I added some numbers. At this point, I ran into a technical problem. My student license for JetBrains Writer has expired and I forgot to request a renewal during the last 2 weeks. So this is it for this video, thank you for watching. Just kidding. I downloaded another IDE and continued to work. I managed to get some things to work when I used another IDE, but I had some difficulties because I was used to Writer. Honestly, I like it and I recommend using it. This is not sponsored by anyone, just my personal recommendations for you. I managed to get the timer working and add menu windows. Next, I went searching for a building for my house. The minigame will be in a different scene, which is going to be loaded when you click on a building. I was lucky to find a really nice sprite with gears. Originally it looked a little bit different from my game style, so I did some color corrections. You can buy this building from a special tab in the shop. I found some sprites for the houses in the minigame and implemented animations. It's surprising how many pixel art sprites and animations you can find on the internet. If I was making Leah in pixel art style, Many of the elements that I struggled to find would have been so much easier to find. Honestly, I don't really understand this obsession with this style. Let me know in the comments if you like pixel art, and if you're making a game, why you choose to make it in this style. The houses I'm using in this scene were pixelated too, but I scaled them up a bit and now they look different. I added the lawns under the houses and adjusted the text style. I really like how it all comes together. Here you can see me dragging the place around and the house is on fire, but this is not what is supposed to happen if you play the game right. The houses have to light up as if you turned on the lights inside. Burning appears only when you got the numbers wrong. I added more graphics to the scene to make it look complete, connected this minigame to the main game, and also added some sounds to it. The game works, and it means it is time to take a look at the final result. We now have a special building called a powerhouse. If we click on it, we open a minigame where you have to power the city. For this, you would have to give the appropriate voltage to each house to light it up, otherwise it will burn to the ground. You get points for each house that you powered, and at the end of the game they are converted to a game currency. Now, time for my thoughts on this mechanic. I want to make the numbers more convenient and the time period given for each game longer, because for me it was too hard to get any houses correctly on such short notice. And this is it for this video. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think of this new mechanic. Also, I'd like to thank everyone who supported me on Patreon, especially Mason Kent, Trey Briggs and Mehmet Betoon. The new version of the game is going to be available on my Patreon page with the new mechanic that I added and a few things that I didn't show you in this devlog. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, and see you soon! Bye!